GoldenEye 007 for the Nintendo 64 is a million seller, a killer app for the platform, and a generation-defining game. Why are we looking at this on Weekend Rental again? Sorry? I'm reading the title wrong? Oh, okay. Let me see. GoldenEye with Mario character. Oh, come on! I'm not just a dancing monkey you can jerk around like this for your amusement. Dragon Ball Kart was at least semi-plausible, but this? Look at this! There is no way this is real. Nintendo would never allow this. They didn't even allow the Xbox 360 remaster of the original GoldenEye. What's that? This one has a physical cart too? And we're also getting paid to look at it as well? This is Dancing Monkey. This is Chris from Makopowered, and welcome to the second part of a special Geek Guilt sponsored edition of Weekend Rental. Quick recap. Geek Guilt was recently able to offer this and Dragon Ball Kart for sale via their website and asked me to look at them. Yes, the videos are sponsored. No, that will not affect how they are treated. Yes, all gameplay is recorded on an actual N64 with the expansion pack, which, once again, is required. There is one change, however. Because my Hyperkin N64 HDMI cord decided to up and die on me after only a couple of hours of use, I did have to upgrade to a level hike N64 HDMI cord. This looks like it worked out for the best though, so let's get to it. GoldenEye with Mario characters is a mod or hack of GoldenEye 007 for the N64 by modder Stupid Mario Bros. 1 fan, with help from Grazlu00, Carnivorous, Sogun, and Rek, and released in January of 2021. Quick note, if Grazlu00 sounds familiar, that's because they're the one who made the 100% complete Xbox 360 remaster of GoldenEye mentioned in the intro publicly available in 2020, so there's definitely some prior experience with the game here. Now, there are likely two thoughts that immediately come to mind when the words GoldenEye with Mario characters are said. First, that's absurd, and second, it's probably just focused on the multiplayer. Let's address both of those together. Yes, the premise absolutely is absurd. It's supposed to be, and if it were just a swapping of character models without any other work done to it, then the joke would be rather one note. Haha, it's Mario characters shooting each other. That's not the case though. Yes, the character models were swapped out, but even then, there was a lot of thought put into the process, much of which only shows up in the single-player experience. For instance, of course Bowser was going to be a bad guy, but here, he doesn't take top billing. If he did, the betrayal wouldn't have been unexpected. Instead, Bowser assumes Russian General Oromov's role, with Luigi taking on the role of 006, Alec Trevelyan, Sean Bean. Because Luigi fills in for Trevelyan, then it makes sense for Daisy to adopt the Xenia Onatop position? Lord, these Bond woman names. I'm sorry, I had to make that pun. Wario, by extension, makes sense in former KGB agent Valentin Zukovsky's spot. He is Mario's oppositional counterpart after all. Again though, if that were all, then the joke would be rather shallow, even if it is endlessly amusing to see Mario getting gunned down, blown up, or otherwise violently dispatched from various camera angles. Stupid Mario Bros. 1 fan went even further though. All of the mission briefings have been modified to reflect not just the Mario character insertion, but the larger Mario backstory. Well, sort of. See, in keeping with the whole Mario in the real world thing, Mario and Luigi aren't from the Mushroom Kingdom or MI6. They're from Brooklyn. Moneypenny's name is changed to Goldcoin because currency equivalents, and Luigi's criminal organization is now Casino, as a nod not to Mario 64 directly, but to the minigames in the DS port of Mario 64. All of the in-game dialogue has been changed to suit the new characters as well, with Mario and Luigi reading like a cross between their portrayal by Charles Martinet and the performances by Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo in the Super Mario Bros. Movie, which finally comes up on Weekend Rental. In fact, the absurd mix of real-world elements and realistic violence with the cartoonish Mario trappings feels a lot like a spiritual sequel to the infamous 1993 cinematic failure. Then there are the more subtle things, like the fact that the password Yoshi/Boris uses in the first visit to the bunker is LIsreal2401. Yeah, that's a nod to the fan theory that Luigi is an unlockable character in Mario 64, but it's also a hint that Luigi survived the explosion in the facility level and that he is the main villain. Then there are the little touches embedded in Mario's outfits, like Mario's Hawaiian shirt in the Cuba levels being covered with shine sprites from Super Mario Sunshine, or his outfit in the Surface 2 level being his wedding outfit from the end of Super Mario Odyssey. As with Dragon Ball Kart in the last video, the sheer attention to detail and love for the Mario franchise is clearly evident. Speaking of Dragon Ball Kart, there's a significant difference between that ROM hack and this one. In the Dragon Ball Kart video, I had mentioned that, despite the cosmetic changes, the underlying game was Mario Kart 64, which had remained untouched. I cannot say the same thing about GoldenEye with Mario characters. I'm not going to go into what has or hasn't aged well with the original GoldenEye experience, because that's a different video, but some of the changes in this mod actually make this game significantly different from simply playing GoldenEye 007. First, there's the fact that Stupid Mario Bros. 1 fan inserted a few cameos in the game. These use the same Mario model, just with different color schemes, and I managed to find two, but there may be more that I missed. The first one was in the first surface level. If you go to the observation dome, you'll find Super Mario Glitchy 4, who, if you take him out, will drop an RC-P90, Zenya's machine gun. Super Mario Glitchy 4 is a machinima character / meme, so it appears his presence is something of an in-joke. The second cameo I found is Stupid Mario Bros. 1 fan himself, who shows up in the control center level. He's hiding on the top floor of the main control center, hidden along with a body armor pickup that was in the original game. What he's packing completely changes the experience of the rest of the level though. He has a golden gun. Now, for those unfamiliar, the golden gun in GoldenEye allows the player to take out any enemy with just one shot. Any enemy. This means that if you get the golden gun, like I did, before taking on the room full of turret drones, you can take each of them out in one shot instead of an entire clip of regular ammo. The other way getting the golden gun here changes the level is that it makes protecting Peach / Natalia while she hacks the GoldenEye satellite so much easier. Now, instead of dealing with how many shots each enemy will take before going down, and worrying about the enemies you're not paying attention to in the meantime, each one goes down with one shot, making crowd control a breeze. It is quite literally a game changer. Tied to this, let's go back to the character models. Rather than just throwing the Mario character models over top of the enemy models in GoldenEye and calling it a day, Stupid Mario Bros. 1 fan actually reworked the collision detection to coincide with the new models themselves. More than just a neat touch, this actually serves to make the game, or at least certain aspects of it, significantly easier, even on 00 Agent mode. For my playthrough, I definitely started out a little rusty, because I haven't played GoldenEye in about 15 years. As I got back into the groove though, I found myself pulling off a ridiculous number of headshots. I mean, look at these stats for the first surface level. 91% accuracy with 95% headshots? On 00 Agent difficulty? I hadn't just shaken off the rust, I was better than ever. Then I realized that nope, no I wasn't. The reason I was getting so many headshots is that the Koopa models used to replace all of the rank-and-file enemies are almost half giant head. I wasn't making these headshots because I was so good at the game, I was making them because it was kind of hard not to. Combine this with the fact that Mario is actually shorter than James Bond, making him ever so slightly harder to hit, and the edge was taken off of 00 Agent mode, even if just a little. This is not to say that 00 Agent mode isn't still hard. In fact, there's one point in the game where the collision detection for the new character models made progress almost impossible. In the train level, once the player makes it to the front car where Luigi, Daisy, and Bowser are holding Peach captive, the player has a brief window of time to take out Bowser before Luigi and Daisy close a bulletproof shutter and start a bomb timer countdown. There's one catch though. In order to have enough of a time window for Peach to be able to get both the location and password data to be able to finish the level on 00 Agent mode, the player needs to hit Daisy after taking out Bowser. Why is this an issue? Because Bowser's death animations are random, can take a few seconds, and because his character model is so much larger than Oromov's, completely obscures Daisy while the shutter comes down. In regular GoldenEye, this isn't a problem. No matter what death animation Oromov displays, Xenia is still easily targetable. Here there's what appears to be a 1 in 9 chance that Bowser will go down quickly enough to be able to hit Daisy. After beating the dam level, I wondered why the entire game opened up to the player instead of forcing progression like in the original. Going through the train level, more times than I'd care to admit, I understood why. it was to avoid issues exactly like this one. I'm not ashamed to admit that I eventually gave up playing roulette with Bowser's animations and just moved on to the next level. There are a few other issues with the character models as well. First, while the collision detection has been changed overall, there's one odd instance where that didn't happen. In the archives level, there are some weird character models with Koopa heads on Donkey Kong bodies. I found that unless they were shot dead center in the head, bullets would pass through as though the added mass of the Koopa heads wasn't there. Second, it's frankly kind of hard to distinguish at a glance between civilians and enemies since both use Koopa models. The main difference between enemies and civilians is that enemies wear sunglasses and civilians do not. That makes it hard to tell who's who from behind or from a distance, or, say, from the tank turret in the streets level. That might seem like nitpicking, but when one of the regular mission objectives is always to minimize civilian casualties, it actually does have a huge impact on how the game is approached. It also kinda highlights just how violent the world of James Bond is when all that separates a timely rescue from a bullet to the head is a pair of sunglasses. As for the multiplayer, since all of the new character models are roughly equivalent to the originals, with Waluigi and Toad filling in for Jaws and Oddjob respectively, the changes to the collision detection mean that no one has more of an advantage over anyone else. Everyone has a larger head. No, the main draw here is the fact that Stupid Mario Bros. 1 fan either imported or modeled from scratch Peach's Castle, Bob-omb's Battlefield, and Big Boo's Haunt from Super Mario 64. These are not approximations. These are the exact levels, and it makes sense that these are the ones which were chosen because they're the ones that require the least platforming. Since there's no jumping in GoldenEye, any platforming would be rendered impossible. I'm not going to lie. I went into this expecting a shallow, ha Mario gots guns experience, and I was pleasantly surprised to find that wasn't the case. There was a lot of thought and effort put into this mod, referencing multiple games in the series, obscure and not so obscure memes, long-standing character history, and more. It was also nice to discover that the focus was not just the multiplayer over the single-player game, despite the fact that the modders could have just done that and called it a day. In the end, the changes made and the consideration given to those changes make for a much different experience from the original GoldenEye 007, and even with its faults, is a more than worthy weekend rental.
The name's Bond. James Bond.